What up, everybody? My name is Bboy Cracker Zacks. I just like people to call me Zach. I represent a crew called Lions of Zion. I'm also part of another crew called Beatwax. I am part of the Pro Breaking Tour organization, and I'm here today to basically help you guys further understand what's going on, goals behind the Pro Breaking Tour, what we're trying to achieve, and how we're trying to get there. And I want to communicate these things to you guys. Well, let me start first of all. There's an individual by the name of Steve Graham, aka Silverback of Silverback B-Boy events, and he came into the Philadelphia breaking scene probably about 6 years ago, and was just helping out the Philadelphia scene locally, helping out the B-boys, on a personal and career-oriented level within the stance and outside of the stance, sponsoring them to get further their education and such, while also providing them awesome training facilities and training opportunities and exposure opportunities. Through many years, he kind of threw around the idea of, well, why isn't breaking more than what it already is? And once he started going out to more events and traveling around up and down the East Coast, he kind of got a picture of it. How I came involved was my best friend Jake the Snake, representing Step Fiends, Beatwax, now in ATX with our other good friend B-Boy Wicket. He basically was one of the first people to meet Steve Graham, actually at a bar mitzvah performance. And Steve Graham just came out and started ciphering with Jake and a couple other B-boys from New York City that were there. And, out of nowhere, this guy just gives Jake his card. He's like, my secretary will call you and, we'll set up an appointment. And Jake was like, okay, cool, this happens all the time, nothing will ever come of it. The next day, he gets a call and Steve Graham shows up. I lived with Jake the Snake at the time. And Steve Graham shows up at our house and does a lesson right there, that day in our living room in a suit after he came from a board meeting. Awesome in itself, and it just kind of grew from there. And Jake and I became more involved with the Grahams and did more stuff with the dance and outside the dance with them. And then for a while we just kicked around the idea of organizing it. And then in about 2013 there was a catalyst. That was just like, he was like, let's just do this, let's give it a whirl. And the whole plan was basically to package breaking like other things are packaged within like the sports and entertainment sponsorship industry, which is a $50 billion industry worldwide. And about almost half of that happens here within the US alone. So the sports sponsorship market is huge here. So if breaking were to be successful and get organized and present value on a national level and on an ongoing basis to national sponsors here in the US, there's no reason to stop it from growing into a culture that provides sponsorship value to big brands in the United States, but at the same time can be organized and structured by B-boys themselves and the community itself to grow not only the competitive portion of it, but once that becomes a self-sustainable entity outside of Silverback's help, over a few years of showing that there's value in this dance to sponsors, then we can as a group grow the cultural side of it too, furthering education, and that's where the name Udef came from, is because it's the Urban Dance and Educational Foundation. Our main goal is to grow the whole community together, not just the competitive side. And by doing that, we want to create an economic and financial ecosystem surrounding breaking and hip-hop culture outside of what mainstream hip-hop culture is perceived as today. A little background information. You can find out this information at udeftour.org itself. But Stephen Graham is a prominent individual in the Philadelphia, community. He is from an investment banking background. How he got exposed to breaking was, this guy was at Goldman Sachs on Wall Street in New York City in the early 80s, straight out of college, and he saw street hitters out there, breaking for money on the street. Loved it, he loved what they were doing, and Steve was a three-sport varsity athlete in college, always physically active, always very competitive, and he loved the primal, raw athleticism and just the spirit in breaking. He thought it was just so primal and rugged, and he loved that aspect of it. And so he actually introduced himself to the street hitters. By the way, these street hitters were like Wayne Blizz. He met a lot of OGs back then, and they invited him to practice, so he would spend his entire day at the office and then, go down to the Bronx at night and, get down with his boys and stuff. And then they would, at times during the day, include him in their street shows. He would play this nerd with like a calculator in his pocket, and they'd pull him out of the crowd, and he would throw down and hit with them and help them make money and stuff. And that's how he first got exposed, but then his career escalated. He went from being on Wall Street, he left Wall Street and opened his own investment banking firm, which has become a very prominent boutique private equity firm in the country. They're very, very successful, and it's put him in a position where he wants to contribute and give back to the community in itself, because the way it really started too is that he wanted his kids to start breaking. That's how he originally got back into it. He was like, he remembered how great it was, he wanted to do it himself, and he wanted to do it with his kids. And that's how he met everyone. And the more he met all the individuals involved and saw how much it's grown, the more intrigued he became with it. And still to this day, the guy is 56 years old. He just had both of his knees replaced, and 6 weeks after having both knees replaced, he's sending me video clips of him doing windmills again and throwing down footwork and getting back into it. Straight up, the guy is a machine, and he loves this dance probably more than any person that I've ever met. So there's really two organizations. Obviously, the website is called udeftour.org, but there's two separate entities involved here. One, the umbrella structure is called Udef, the Urban Dance and Educational Foundation, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, which means it's allowed to take charitable contributions from, any organization or individual and such like that. And then, there's another entity called the Pro Breaking Tour that is a for-profit subsidiary of the 501c3 nonprofit. And that's because the Pro Breaking Tour is in the business of selling sponsorships, to people, or not people, but to the multinational corporations based here in the U.S. And that's how we're looking to, basically fund this tour and this organization to help, level the community above a grassroots community. The way it's worked right now is that Silverback himself started Silverback Bboy events, and he has basically become the first tour-wide sponsor of the Pro Breaking Tour. That's why you see Silverback Bboy events, advertised in all these clips. And as of recently, Monster has come along also, as they have powered the Pro Breaking Tour. Also, they have become a tour-wide sponsor. And so the theory behind this is that we'll sell more national sponsorships for the Pro Breaking Tour, and they will basically supplement all the initial costs that Silverback put in himself. That's not to say that once they make up his balance that he's going to stop supporting the tour, but he just wants to see that this works. He wants this to come together. He wants the people, the community itself, to keep bolstering itself upward rather than staying at the level that they're at. Not that there's a problem with the community, but there is a way that all of us together can unite, organize, and present value to sponsors much better than what the scene is currently doing. Because really there's a lot of smart and intelligent people in this community. We just have to work together in realizing what a corporation's expectations are in terms of asset and sponsorship delivery versus what's currently being done with events and how events are structured. You could reach out to the tour. There's always a contact us. We look for help. Obviously, a lot of the people that are involved, there's myself involved. We work with Cross One, so we are bi-coastal. We work with people all across the country. There's stuff that you can do within your own local communities that go a long way towards helping the tour. Working with children and building, educating kids, working within studios, just spreading, the word and the culture of breaking in itself in a positive way reflects well, especially if it's going to neighborhoods that aren't already exposed or people that aren't exposed. The more you educate about breaking itself and how valuable it is, obviously this dance has affected me in a way that it's kind of defined the route that I've taken in life, and as it's done for many people. So you can get involved in your local communities, and if you want to get involved more on the tour, it's a lot of work, but there's always stuff that people can do to help. It's just a matter of people following through with their requests. I'm always looking for help, put it that way. Whether it's small or large, I'll talk to me, reach out to me. You guys probably come across me on every Udef Pro Breaking Tour event, Facebook page or whatever. ask me. I'll be able to help you out in any way, or you can, submit an inquiry to the website. I just want to give a shout out to all the B-boys out there that are, pushing this community forward. There's a lot of you guys. I want to keep seeing us come together. Always respect to all the ones that came before us and after us. We're a big family, man. This is a small community, yet it's having global impacts. It's about time that we all, as a community, capitalize on that so that we can further this community into the future and keep growing and make it better and better for ourselves and for the future ahead of us. So, peace out, word up, Lions of Zion, Beatwax. Shout out to my homies, Napalm, Domkey, Kev1, aka Are You Randy, who's not here right now. Everybody, Geronimo, Jake the Snake, Bboy Wicket, Cross One, Silverback, everyone, Knuckles, Napalm. All the B-boys and B-girls, peace out. Stay positive. Positivity is key. Take care. Peace.